Okay, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Freya podcast once again on another weekend discussion and just blabbering around. So I'm literally feeling this fit, so I need to show y'all first because check this out. I'm going all Berlin on this. So, don't ask why. I just ended up with this. I'm just feeling a little bit, let's say, dark for some reason. But, hello. If you're new here, my name is Freya. Welcome to the Freya channel. I usually talk about things in relation to trans issues, trans privileges or disadvantages, anything in relation to my own journey as a trans woman at this point. So I recommend that you come hang out, ask your questions, and let's see what we can figure out. Okay, so I was thinking about what my friend just sent me yesterday. So my friend, they sent me a message that one of their friends is writing a book at the university here in Spain in relation to women and women issues and women life. And not gonna lie, I think I felt a bit guilty for taking the spot. I do have a lot of things to say, and I do have a lot of experiences that I would like to share. But I think also it could be a little bit problematic that I come from a different culture. I need to write it in Spanish, but they're like, yeah, you can write it in English and then we can translate it into Spanish. It's not a big deal. So I might just do this. I also feel a bit like, why don't you have all the other women here talk about what they want and the things that they had to go through? So one reason why I don't want to talk about it because I have a really dark history of abuse, of harassment, of just trying not to give up on life. And eventually, now that I'm here, I think my friend, they want me to share these experiences with people so that it becomes relevant to anyone who's out there. So it's a good thing. But I kind of do not want to get deeper into my psyche because if I do write about it, it's going to open up some of those memories once again, which I already know about. It's nothing new, but it's a little bit dense, right? So if I bring it up and I write it down on like 3 pages, I'm going to be thinking about this for the next 2 or 3 days. So it's not going to be like just like I'm here simply writing something and just like, yeah, I'm just going to go with my day, hang out and just drink and, write my research. So eventually it's becoming I kind of want to, and then I kind of do not want to mentally take myself down that road once again. Now, in relation to this, I also have been thinking about the new bathroom law that you have, for example, where I grew up in Ohio and semi grew up in Ohio, but eventually trying to figure out whether it is relevant in relation to things here in Spain and whether, let's say, also in the same sense, these like people or the turfs are fighting for some rights of like all these trans women are stealing our spots, stealing our bathrooms, stealing our book pages, I guess, at this point for me. I do feel a little bit guilty in some sense because I have people commenting on my profiles telling me I shouldn't, right? So I don't feel guilty because I feel like I'm a bad person, I'm stealing someone's spot. I do feel guilty because some people do come to me complaining, and I, as kind of an empath, I feel kind of like, I feel you, I don't know what to do, but it's like, you exist. Your people, your type is always going to exist. Like the same thing. People who believe God exists will exist, and they would disagree with me. And I think if you think about this at the beginning of, let's say, women coming out and working, or women coming out and wearing pants, excuse me, pants are not made for women. Now, all women wear pants. Very few wear skirts. I like skirts. I have issues with my body, so I don't wear them as much. But the thing would be that change causes fear and mayhem and chaos. And I think it's definitely necessary that some people will disagree with you, but you should not take this personally. I, for myself, did take it personally at the beginning, and then later I kind of got used to like, okay, well, you believe in Jesus, you believe God exists, and God created Adam and Eve, and all the incest that happened afterwards that no one wants to talk about or think about. Um, but trust you me, although I'm not religious, I have read and I'm still reading books. So I read the Quran, I read the Tao Te Ching, which is the Taoist book. I got into Buddhism a little bit just to understand, and now I'm reading the Bible, the New Testament Bible, the New Testament Bible, like the NIV, I think they call it, because I don't want to be judgmental of people. But so far, getting into the Bible, girl, I don't know what to tell you, but there's a lot of issues. And this is the updated version of the Bible. Like, it's not just a Bible from like the year zero or the year 10. I don't know when they wrote the Bible. But eventually, all I'm seeing is still the same issues. The Bible doesn't care about slavery. The Bible tells the slaves, suck it up, follow your slave, whatever they do. If they want to court your daughter, your wife, that's their property. And here I am like, oh, goddess, no, please, goddess. As I change my vocabulary, not to say, oh, God, I say, oh, goddess. So I recommend you all to do it because goddess is definitely the goddess. But in general, the Quran had a lot more issues with like fear mongering and also the control. Usually these religions all talk about the same thing. Slavery is fine. Men have power, dominance over women. Women have to submit to their men. It does say men have to treat their women well, but then in general says women have to submit to men, no matter what. No matter what. In the Bible, recently I heard, like, because I'm doing an audiobook, it says if a woman divorces her husband, she committed adultery. I'm like, but like, what? Excuse me? If she divorces her husband and marries another one, she committed adultery. Like, no. Um, but eventually, I think I'm gonna write this book. So coming back to this book, not it's not a book. I'm writing my own thesis. I'm only like 150 pages in, so I'm almost done. But they told me to write like 3 pages of something that I went through that was maybe internal, something that was important as a transition, something that maybe people who are out there need to hear and know about. Because most of the time, you do not actually hear the actual numbers of women who are being harassed, who are being accused, who are being beaten up, because a lot of them do not want to create a scene or attract attention. um I was one of those people. Like, I had things happen to me, I never told anyone because I'm like, I need to keep my reputation safe, because I was afraid if people knew this, it will be an easy access for the others to do the same thing. So eventually I just kind of like, oh no, no, we're just gonna pretend. And I think this is why I pretended to be a very kind of trying to be a very masculine teenagers, not teenager, like late teen, like 20s, trying to figure out like I need to fit in, be safe. Until recently, it was just like I'm done. I'm done trying, and I'm glad I came out like before my 30th birthday. Because imagine if I'm like 40 or 50 or 60, that would have hit really hard, and I don't think I would have maybe taken it well. Um, Now it's fine, but I think I'm gonna write about the things. I hope people are ready for it. I'm gonna talk about how my experience in a different culture, um, being the feminine type in between a bunch of dudes and men and boys, was definitely relatable and also comparable to what women go through in the Western world. Like, because I've had some friends or even like colleagues who are women who are more on the turfy side, who just said like, you don't understand what women go through, you will never understand what women go through. And me, in my mind, I'm like, you don't even know what I've gone through. Like, I might look to you like I'm the, like the predator, but trust me, I was a prey more than you think, and I probably have gone through things worse than what you have gone through. I'm not trying to compare with people, but like the way they talk about it usually says that they have not really gone through this. Because someone who goes through sexual assault, sexual harassment, they do not tell people, about this, they kind of keep that information because it kind of reminds them of what happened. So they tend to just silence this or just kind of swallow it in peace and just kind of let it go, because the mentioning of it is not something that's that simple that people just throw around, as in, you'll never know, you will never understand. I'm like, yeah, you will never understand what it is to be the only feminine boy in a school, in a system where you only have to hang out with horny men who've never seen women. Try getting there. Right. So I was a kind of a free meal because the law did not apply to me. The law would say you cannot hit a woman, but then I presented a male. So I was definitely like, yeah, you could hit whatever you want with this person because they do not fit into our definition of who should not be beaten up. So problems do come up here in this sense. And then it becomes just like, for me, it took me years to realize that many of the things that did happen, I did not consider bad because they happened so often from so many people, until I kind of grew out of it, until I'm like realizing now, internalizing what's happening. And I'm realizing like the amount of trauma or harassment that I actually acquired from like the age of 5 all the way to like literally recently, 2022. Um, and it did shape me in a certain way. I used to think that I'm not really a very social person because this is kind of a masculine feature that men are not social. Men are actually social with the people they like. I'm kind of social, but I moved a lot, so I lose a lot of people frequently, right? So I just kind of now developed a sense of independence, not a sense of independence like I want to be, I don't need anyone. It's more that it's safer to do this because I'm going to be moving sometime soon. I don't need to get attached to anyone here. I'm going to finish my studies and I'm out, girl. I'm out. So eventually it becomes more of a self defense mechanism of, I don't need to invest in anyone. No one here matters. Like, I've lived in 7, 8 different cities. That's not tourism, living in 7 different cities. And I just get through friends and out of them, through friends and out of them. And eventually it just becomes like a very tiring cycle of investment in energy and people. And now I just became my own best friend. So I do hang out with myself, like I get pretty for myself. Usually on the weekend. I do this every Saturday because Saturdays are the days where I take myself out. Right. So I'm gonna write these in these 3 pages, to start with the really, really dark stuff and then kind of show them the light. Even though, bad things could happen, I'm not denying this. I do see the world in a more positive way because I've been in darkness. So some things here that do happen in Spain or in Europe do not bother me as much because I am safe and I am physically not damaged. Like, if someone says something, if someone grabs something, I don't get very angry because I've had people do a lot worse. So like let's say my scale of what is bad, what is okay, is a lot larger, wider than what other people here might have. Like the same thing if you think of security, if you think of food quality, what a person experiences in like Spain might be completely different than what a woman could experience in, let's say, India, in Saudi Arabia, in Egypt, right? So taken into consideration, in every country you will go, you're gonna have to change your standards. So I think me being in Spain made it very, very safe for me to not worry so much about protecting myself as much. And that gave me the key to the door to stop putting so much energy on trying to just be vigilant and on my toe for anything and anyone that could happen to come around and try to hurt me. And this is why I put like this very extreme, masculine, dangerous male kind of face mask on, and that kind of prevented a lot of people from approaching me. I had people fear me for no reason. I kind of liked it for a while. Um, but then eventually it became a problem, as in, like, okay, I'm safe, but now what? Safety is not everything at the end of the day. But eventually, I'm gonna let this out like this. I'm gonna definitely write to this person. I think they want it by the end of January, middle of January. I'm not sure. So I'm gonna write some things because I have a lot of things to write, and I don't think it will fit into 3 pages. but I'm just gonna try to be maybe nice instead of just be dark. Because I'm in a very good spot in my life now. Like, I think even my friend EC's told me, she's from Brazil. Interesting name. I really like her name. She told me that, like, ever since I transitioned, I seem so much happier, so much more bright. Like everything inside of me, outside of me is just shining life. And before, like I was literally wearing all black on black and chains, and like I got into this Berlin kind of darkness, dark techno, dark life, dark industry, dark everything kind of scenario. And now with the transition, I'm slowly adding color. I'm slowly doing other things. I'm like avoiding this type of music in some sense, and I kind of traversed into a different type of techno that I kind of like. Um, I found something called techno, so SLUT techno, which is very cool. There is a woman called Miss Bashful. She makes really good music, and there's another Spanish version of this, and her name is Six Sex, like six number six, and then sex, like sex. Check those out if you're interested into something like upbeat techno, happy, but then also a bit more sexy. Like I'm definitely into this at this point. Like when I do my makeup, like I'm just doing some really sexy music. But I'm definitely feeling it today because I don't know, like the hair gives, sharp like techno. This is definitely like a techno vibe for me, like cyberpunk scenario. I really like the cyberpunk stuff. So I kind of had to fit it in this way as well. Okay, gonna go.